Hey guys, welcome to another Commander 21 Strixhaven Precon upgrade. Let me draw to upgrade video. So today we are doing the Quantum Quandrix Precon. This is the last of the Precons. I did the other four. And I'm gonna be honest, this one in particular is probably the one I did the most reworking on, and kind of the one I'm the most excited to play with. It sounds really fun, looks really fun. Does it function properly? I don't know. Probably not. But the idea of it, fun. Um, and once again, like all the other videos, this kind of upgrade um was taking inspiration from the command zones upgrade video. They did a budget one. I do more with cards I own, cards I pulled from that booster that I got, or the there's some cards in here from the precon, not the precon, pre-release kit. So yeah, so mine's not really on a like more of a budget. Not mine's on a budget in terms of I didn't buy any new cards from other places to put in. I already had these cards, but it's also not budget because some of the cards I put in um are a little bit on the more can be on the more expensive side. Just a couple of them, not really a whole lot of them, but just a couple of them. So yeah, I think we can just kind of get started into this right away. Um, so the pre-con commander, they usually go with Adrix and Nev, twin casters. This one, which is the 4 mana 2/2 Merfolk Wizard with Ward 2. Ward is a new mechanic in this set, I believe. That there's a cost if you're gonna target if an opponent targets this. Um, so it's got Ward 2 where they have to pay 2 extra to target this creature. And it has, if one or more tokens would be created under your control, twice that many of those tokens are created instead. So this is, Doubling Season on legs. Which Doubling Season is a card I would have liked to put in here. Unfortunately, I did send that to my friend so that she could sell it for me. And it did sell like a few like months ago, I think, sometime last year. So, um, yeah, if that didn't sell, I probably would have asked her if I could have had it back and put it back in the deck because that would have been a good card for this deck. But, unfortunately, someone bought it, so that's okay. It's no worries. But the commander that we're playing is the secondary commander. S6 Fractal Bloom is a 6 mana, 4 colorless blue and a green for a 4/4 fractal creature with flying. And it says the first time you would create one or more tokens during each of your turns, you may instead choose a creature other than Essex Fractal Bloom, create that many tokens that are copies of that creature. So super good. There's some really crazy things you can do with this. There's a lot of creatures in here that have a lot of like battlefield effects, so copying those multiple times really good. Um, Creating tokens, even if you're able to create a 1/1, it could become something else, something bigger. So super fun. Josh Lee Kwai played it on the extra turns episode of the command zone and it was bonkers. Um, it looked really fun, and so I'm really like excited to try this out myself. So I separated them as I always do: land, planeswalkers, artifacts, instants, sorceries, and creatures. So we'll go through the mana base really quick. The Precon was running 40 lands. I cut it down to 36. Now, when I'm thinking back on it now, 36 seems like a little. So I might put in a couple more lands. But right now I'm running 36. So, the reason I was running 36 is because there's a lot of ramping. Not a whole lot of ramping, but there's a bit of ramping in this deck. So I was like, okay, maybe I can cut back on lands a little, since I'll be getting the lands out a little bit more quicker. Um, but again, I need to really kind of play test this, play with it, just to kind of see if maybe adding a couple more lands is really the way to go. So I did cut 2 forests from the precon, so there's only 9 forests here. I am running the 10 island. I still think the constellation lands are probably the best lands they've ever printed. And then we have the non-basic lands, which I kind of did the most reworking on. Um, so for these ones, I took out, how many did I take out? 1, 2. I took out 8 and replaced 6 of them. So there, I did cut some lands from, so 2 non-basic lands. So I kept the Blightwood Woodland, the Command Tower, the Exotic Orchard here, the Lumbering Falls, Mosswort Bridge, Myriad Landscape, Oran Reef, the Vastwood, Simic Growth Chamber, Temple of Mastery, Temple of the False God, and the Yavimaya Coast. And then the ones I ended up taking out were the Llanowar Reborn. Only I have everything just because I actually decided, like always on the last video, to be productive and write down what I took out. So I took out the Llanowar Reborn, the Lonely Sandbar, which was the cycling island, Novigen Heart of Progress, which I believe is you pay a Simic, I believe, and you put a 1/1. Yeah. Simic, blue green, tap it, put a 1/1 counter on each creature that entered the battlefield this turn. And so that's probably a land I would maybe put in if I was to add some more land. Same with like Lonely Sandbar. I might put that in just because the cycling land. I took out the Opal Palace, the Quandrix Campus, and I'll kind of touch up on the campus a little bit more because I might put it back in. The Rogue's Passage, Study Hall, and the Tranquil Thicket, which is the green cycling land. So stuff I put in 6 non-basics. I put in the Winterland Harbor, which I forget where it's from. Gonna be honest, I don't recognize this. Um I know what it is, and if someone says, "Hey, it's this," I'll be like, "Yeah, exactly. That's the one." Um Enters the battlefield tapped unless you control a forest or island. I can There's a lot of forest and islands in. So um even some of the non-basics are considered forest and island. Gingerbread Cabin is one of those. It's a non-basic, but it counts as a forest. Um, it enters the battlefield tapped unless you control 3 or more other forests. And when this enters the battlefield untapped, you food token. Now that's cool because that does work with Essex. Essex just doesn't say creature tokens; it says tokens. So food tokens you can throw in, and you'll get a creature if you of anything. Yeah, a creature other than Essex. So it doesn't even need to be one of your creatures. It could be a copy of an opponent's creature. So that's super cool. Breeding pool. And enter battlefield tapped unless you pay 2 life. It's Forest Island. Counts towards Gingerbread Cabin, you know, and Hinterland Harbor. Flooded Grove is something I pulled from the Double Master set a good while ago. That's the tap to add one, or you can pay a green or blue, and it's a filter land. Rhymewood Falls. Now, I took out the Quandrix campus for this. Mainly because, not just because it's not a snowland. Snowland doesn't matter to me. Mainly because Forest Island is kind of the main reason. I thought about this more, and I might throw in the Quandrix campus and put it back in for this. Just because they both kind of do the same thing. Granted, Quandrix campus isn't a Hold on, let me look it up before I don't think Quandrix campus is a forest island. It's not. But Quandrix campus has that forest scry. Could be useful. And then the other one I put in was the Kalani Garden, which is this is super old. I remember back when I was in college, I think I was playing with this card. And it's battlefield tapped, but when it comes into play, you make a 0/1 plant creature token. And again, token comes into play, copy of something else instead. So super good. Really like it. It's not like a super great land, but getting the extra token could really help. Could help a lot. All right, so next we'll go into the planeswalkers. Garruk came with the precon, so I kept him in. This is old Garruk. This is super old, I think. This is the 5 mana, 3 loyalty Garruk. It's got a +1 of create a 3/3 green beast token. -3, which will actually get rid of him. Draw cards equal to the greatest power among creature control, and then -6 is create a 6/6 green worm creature token for land you control. You'll probably never get to this -6. You'll maybe get the -3, but the +1 will get you, if anything, a 3/3. If best case scenario, you get something super. And then I also threw in the Kasmina Enigma Sage, or Cash Money, as I've been hearing it called by other. This is from Strixhaven. I pulled this from the set booster. Set booster? Yeah, the set booster. The full art, it's super pretty. I haven't really played with her, and I haven't really seen people play with her, so I don't know how good she actually is. But she's 3 mana, 1 colorless, blue and a green for 2 loyalty, Kasmina Planeswalker. And in each other Planeswalker you control has the loyalty abilities of Kasmina. So you have Garruk and her on the field, they both can do the same. They both have Kasmina's abilities. So her +2 is Scry 1, which is okay. -X is create a 0/0 green and blue fractal creature token, put X +1/+1 counters on it. So, yeah, fractal out. You can -0 for a fractal creature token, which, when it comes into play, would immediately die. But since you're going to make a copy of a creature instead, it's a -0 for a creature. It's basically a free creature. That's my understanding. I don't know if that's actually how it is, but that's my understanding of how Essex works and how the fractal token with counters on it comes in. And then her -8 is the search your library for an instant or sorcery card that shares a color with the planeswalker. With this planeswalker, exile that card, then shuffle. You may cast that card without paying its mana cost. So -8, you get a instant. So again, -8 you'll never get, but the -X is super cool just because it'll get you another creature. Okay, and then we'll go into the artifacts. There was a couple of artifacts I took out. I think the Precon runs 7. And I took out the Fractal Harness and the Geometric Neck. I didn't actually replace anything, so all of these 5 that are in here now are from the Precon. which is the Arcane Signet, Idol of Oblivion, Sequence Engine, Simic Signet. I always have trouble because it's a tongue twister for me, and Soul Ring. So pretty standard artifacts. Okay, let's get into the instant sorceries, and then we'll go through the. In terms of instance, I threw in one. I think I only took out. Oh, really quickly, this uh this Precon did run two enchantments, Paradox Zone and Primal Empathy. I took out both of them. They didn't really seem to be doing too much for the deck, so I just kind of like I could put in better stuff. So that's what I took out. Then for all of this, I only took out one instant. So I'm still running the Within, the Biomass Station, the Eureka Moment, the Corrosion Grip, Perplexing Test, Rapid Hybrid, Return of the Wild Speaker, which is super good. I remember when this out, and I was kind of like this, kind of like my sleeper card. Like I was like, this card isn't. No, card is really good, and it took me a long time to figure that out. It took me this deck to figure that out. And Theoretical Duplication. So yeah, so those are the cards I put, or were from the Precon. I did take out Commander's Insight. Um, which I'm gonna be honest, I was reading it, and I'm realizing that's actually a good card. So, um, I'm probably gonna put that back in. I did replace it with Spell Swindle, just because um, there was no counters in this deck, and I've always liked Spell Swindle. That I like creating treasure tokens, and it kind of works well with Essex. Um, but again, I was reading Commander's Insight and actually seeing it played. I realized that it's actually a really good card. I think so. I'm probably gonna throw that back in. Probably take out the Spell Swindle or something else. I'm not sure, but for sure considering throwing that back in because it just feels really. Uh, Commander's Insight. For those of you who don't know, instant. It is 3 blue and an X. It just says target player draws X cards plus an additional card for each time they've cast a commander from the command zone. So, yes, Essex is super expensive. To get super value out of it, Commander's Insight would need to be have a lot of um kind of mana thrown into it. But, card draw is always good. So we'll see. I think I took it out because Essex so expensive that if you cast it 3 times, you're paying 10 mana for this thing, and that's a lot of mana. So that is kind of one of those like, yeah. I think it was because of Essex costing so much that I took it out. But again, I'm considering putting it back in, but we'll see how. Okay, now is sorcery. Sorceries, I think I only took out like one or two, I think. Yeah, I took out one. Yeah, so the only card I took out from the sorcery was Replication, um, which is a 5 cost sorcery, 5 mana value, 4 colors in a blue, and it has demonstrate. The demonstrate is, I guess, another new mechanic from the set. It says, when you cast a spell, you may copy it. If you do, choose an opponent to also copy it. Players may choose new targets for the copy. So, 5 mana, copy, and then its effect is create a token that's a copy of target permanent you can. So, again, you can copy it, but your opponent also copies it. And I kind of took that out because I don't want opponents value. So, like, yeah, you'll get 2 things, they'll get 1 thing, but, it's still, I'm still against it. So, I chose to take it out. But the ones we did keep in were Curse of the Swine, Izuri's Preparation, Golden Ratio, uh, Incubation, Incongruity. Don't know how to say that. I've used this. I think there was a Merfolk. I remember playing this in Standard a good while ago. I remember what deck it was actually. Kodama's Reach, super good. Gotta love more Cultivate. Nissa's Expedition, Oversimplify, Rampant Growth, Rite of Replication, which is a card that I've always liked. Never really owned, but I'm glad it was reprinted in these precons because that's a super card. Shamanic Revelation and Spitting Image were the cards that I kept in, and I put in 3 other cards. Body of Research. I think I pulled from either, I don't remember if it was the pre-release kit or if it was in the set boost. But it seems really cool. It's 3 green, 3 blue, and create a 0/0 green and blue fractal creature token. Put X/1/1 counters on it, where X is the number of cards in your library. This is one of those special cards that, I would always take this creature token over copying. Just because, and I threw it in because it's commander. It's yes, it'll get targeted, but I can't not go for the big play here. Something about just having a big creature on the field, even if when it dies, that's fine with me. As long as I'm able to get a big creature on the field, that's okay. Cultivate, the Japanese alt art from the collector booster, I believe. And then I threw in a Seagate Restoration, which is seen in Standard every so often. It's 4 for 3 blue. Draw cards equal to the number of cards in your hand +1, and then you have no maximum hand size for the rest of the game. So that's good. There are some cards that do matter about hand size. So card draw is good. I like it. Worst case scenario, you need to play it as a land on the backside. So that is okay. That is okay with me. And then we'll get into the creatures was probably one of the ones I overhauled probably the most. So there was 28 creatures in here originally. And I don't know how many I actually have right now, but maybe more, maybe less. Okay, there are 5 more creatures in here than this deck started with. So first of all, like I said, we're putting Adrix and Nev in the creatures instead of the commanders. So that's one of the probably the big changes right away. So the creatures I took out were Arashi, the Sky Asunder, the Forgotten Ancient, Hornet Nest, Ruxa, Patient Professor, and the Spawning Kraken. Those cards didn't really do too much for what I wanted to do with the deck. So I did take them out. I did replace them with some cards that I kind of felt synergized a little bit better with Essex and coming into play effects. So so Adrix and F I kept in. Biomathematician, the Champion of Wits, Coiling Oracle, Crafty Cut Purse, Curiosity Crafter, Zika Fractal Theorist. This came with the precon, but I pulled the full art from somewhere, and I'm a sucker for pretty cards, so I just replaced it. But that came with the precon. The Guardian Augmenter, Hornet Queen. This comes into play. You make 4/1/1 insect creatures. So 4 of any creature on the bounce. Okay. Uh, Hydra Broodmaster, Incubation Druid, Cassetto Orochi Archmage, Kazandu Tuskcaller, which is a level up card, which I haven't played with in a really long time. So I'm kind of interested to see how that goes with this deck. Managorger Hydra, Master Biomancer, Laxcaster Frogling, Quandrix Cultivator, Rampaging Balos, Reefworm, Terastodon, and the Trigon Predator, and Raven Zamone, Quandrix Prodigy. So those are the creatures from the precons. The creatures I put in 11. Apex Devastator. 1 second, I'll be right back. Sorry about that, guys. I had to tend to my sister's needy cat. Um. Okay. Yeah. So the back to what I was saying. The creatures I put in were Apex Devastator. I think I pulled this from Commander Legend. I'm not exactly sure where I pulled this from, or if this was from another precon. Might have been from another precon from last year or the year before. His is a 10 mana, 10/10 Chimera Hydra that has Cascade, 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 and you guessed it, Cascade again. So he cascades 4 times. There is no real reason for me to put this in other than it's a big dumb creature that casts 4 spells when you cast it. there are obviously better options than this, but like I said, I am a sucker for big plays and probably big non-efficient play. So that is just my play style, and yeah, that is the only reason why I put this in. Augmenter Pugilist. So I wasn't really gonna throw this in. The only reason I threw this in was because 8 or more lands, it gets +5/+5. This deck doesn't really have a hard time getting that many lands into play, I felt like. So a 3 mana 8/8 with trample, pretty good. I'm gonna be honest, I don't actually know what the echoing equation for 3. Oh, it's a sorcery. 3 and a blue for a sorcery. Choose target creature you control. Each other creature you control becomes a copy of it until end of turn. Except those creatures aren't legendary if the chosen creature. Okay, that's not bad either. So yeah. That's not super bad. So I threw this in because kind of fits my playstyle. I thought it sounded good, and the backside is also not that bad. So that's kind of why Avenger of Zendikar. This was a card that I had from where I got it from. It wasn't from this deck, and I don't remember, and I don't think I might have just had it. I had it in another deck. I think I pulled it from my Muldrotha. I think that's right. Um, Either way, Avenger of Zendikar, uh, pretty good. This was from World Wake, I believe. So it's a 7 mana 5/5 elemental. When it enters the battlefield, put a 0/1 green plant creature token onto the battlefield for each land you control. So, assuming you get this into play with 7 lands, no ramping, get 7/0/1s, or guess what? Essex is on the field and you have seven seven whatever creature on the field instead. And it has landfall. Um the landfall I guess doesn't really matter if you don't have any on the field, but maybe you have plants on the field. So that's cool. I don't know if you can make plants of the Avenger of Zendikar. I'm not super sure because this is an ETB trigger. The plants would have been or are entering because of it. So I don't know if it's on the battlefield. I don't know if you can target this as soon as it comes out. I'm gonna be honest, I am not familiar with like how that works. So if someone knows the answer to that, let me know in the comments because that would be most helpful. Eternal Witness, super good card. Gets a card from your graveyard to your hand. Simple, great. And again, comes into play. Create a token that's a copy of it. You get another card from it. Kogla the Titanate. This is something I put in. Is a 6 mana, 3/3 green for a 7/6 ape. When it enters the battlefield, it fights up to one target creature you don't control. And when Kogla attacks, destroy target artifact or enchantment pending player. Now I threw this in more for its first ability of its fight. The tokens, if you make tokens of this, the tokens are gonna die because of the legend rule. And you're always gonna want to keep the Kogla out. So, yeah, the tokens will die because of the legend rule, but they'll still be able to find something on their way out. So, almost like a 1-for-1. Um, so I think it's pretty good. I think that's really the main reason why I threw Kogla in here because of just the fight when it enters the battlefield. Could be good removal. Manifestation stage. I think this is something I threw in. I'm kind of need to read it again to figure out why I threw it in. So it's 4 green-blue hybrid mana for a 2 wizard, and then when it enters the battlefield, create a 0/0 green and blue fractal creature token. Put X/1/1 counters on it, where X is the number of cards in your hand. So trying to remember why I kind of threw this in. Can't yeah, 4 mana, you get a token of something else is cool. But I feel like there was another reason. Can't remember. But I guess if I had to replace something, it would maybe be Mole Drifter. Threw in, super great. 5 mana, so 4 in the blue. For a 2/2 flying, when it enters the battlefield, draw 2 cards. Then it has Invoke. Says you can cast this spell for its evoke cost. If you do, sacrifice when it enters the battlefield. So it's either a 5 mana 2/2 flying, or it's a 3 mana draw 2. Either way, creating tokens of this, draw cards. Name of the game: create tokens, draw cards. Quandrix Apprentice, something I threw. Blue green for a 2 with Magecraft, and its Magecraft ability: cast or copy an sorcery spell. Look at the top 3 cards of your library. You may reveal a land card from among them and put that card into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. Now, looking for land is great. If you don't have any land, it's a good way to look. It's almost like a scry that if you don't find land, they all go to the bottom of your library. So that part kind of sucks, but getting land and being able to play lands each turn is super important. That's kind of why I threw it. And then I threw in Nazir Quandrix Elder Dragon. So that is a 5 mana, 3 colorless, blue and a green for a 4/4 Elder Dragon with flying and trample. And when it enters the battlefield, double the number of 1/1 counters on target creature. And whenever Tanazir Quandrix attacks, you may have the base power and toughness of other creatures you become equal to Tanazir Quandrix's power and toughness until end of turn. Now this card is kinda doesn't like super synergize with the deck, just because the whole point is to not make tokens with XX, but with 1/1 counters on it, but to make copies of other creatures. So not super synergistic, but it's a and I pulled it from the pre-release kit. So and it's a full art. So again, I'm all about like having fancy looking cards, so I kind of threw it in. If there was gonna be a card to replace, it would probably be this one, and it would probably was it the stage? Yeah, these two probably I could replace them the most, or I would have no problem replacing. Tireless Tracker, super good card. 2 colors and a green for a 3/2 human scout. When a land enters the battlefield under your control, investigate. And investigate says put a colorless clue artifact token onto the battlefield with 2, sacrifice artifact, draw a card. Now again, you can do that, or if Essex is in play, again, you can make a creature token of something on the battlefield. So you do have flexibility with these tokens that come into play, which is really good, I think. If you want the treasure, you can have the treasure. If you want the clue, you can have the clue. Or if you want, you know, another one of your creatures or one of an opponent's creatures, boom, you have one. So I do like the flexibility of the token um options. And then Big Daddy himself, Uro, Titan of Nature's Wrath. Um Now, this is one of those cards that kind of like the Tanager, the Elder Dragon, doesn't super synergize with the deck. However, Uro is super good. Its enter the battlefield effect is fine. Um or is good. And with Essex, coming into play, um a creature token, that's great. It gets its effect. It's gonna go away because the token wasn't okay. My understanding of the ruling is the token will go away for two reasons. One, the legend rule. So the legend rule will always keep Ura out if we can. Secondly, the token's gonna go away for sure because it wasn't escaped, right? That's Uro's thing, is right. It it enters the battlefield. It goes away right away if it didn't escape from the graveyard. So, but it's entered the battlefield effect, and then when it attacks, also is gain 3 life, draw a card, you can play a land. Super great. So, you know, best case scenario is you have an error out, you have your Essex out, and you're throwing a Rite of Replication onto it, right? So say you're doing that, and you are so Rite of Replication. I don't even know where it might be. So I thought it was an instant. So yeah, so Rite of Replication kicked in. Say you're paying 9 mana. You make 5 tokens. You make 5 euros. So you're gaining 15 life. You're drawing 5 cards, and you can put up to 5 lands onto the battlefield. So yeah. So granted, like I said, they'll all go away, but I think that's okay. I think that's fine. Um, you've gotten your value out of that. So yeah, that's like the ideal situation that I kind of was like, oh, that's the pog, that's the pog. But again, Uro is just a good card. It doesn't super synergize with what's going on with the deck, but Uro is Uro, so that's kind of just really why I threw him in. So, and that's gonna be it for this deck upgrade. Like I said, there are a lot of cards in here that I can probably replace, cards that I took out that I could probably put back in. There are definitely better options for the cards that I put in, but you know what? Sometimes I just want big dumb creatures, because sometimes that's just what Commander's all about, just big dumb creatures. So yeah, there are a few synergy tweaks that I could put in. There are some cards I would have loved to put in. Like I said, had I had the doubling season, would have been great, but didn't have it, and I don't want to really buy new cards to put in. So, I am looking forward to playing this. This is probably one of the decks that I really was the most excited to try out, along I think with the Witherbloom and the this Quandrix one. Probably the two decks that I'm probably the most excited to play, just because I think their synergy really kind of there are it really showed that there was more synergy in those decks than probably some of the other ones. Um, so I hope you guys enjoyed these Precon upgrade little deck techs that I did. And like I said, these were all cards that I owned already. I didn't go out and buy new cards and be like, oh, I wonder how this would be. These are all cards that I have opened in the past, opened recently. or just had lying around. So, um, as always, there are better options. I can think of a few better options that would have been better, but I didn't have access to, so I was really working with what I had. But I think specifically for this one, I think with working with what I had didn't really seem to be too bad. So, um, yeah, I will see you guys in the next Magic the Gathering video. I am still currently trying to get a new so I'm gonna try. At some point I will start making more arena content. I haven't been able to play arena because my computer can't run it. So, I would love to do more arena content, sealed drafting even. So, um, content might be a little bit dry for the next couple weeks just because until parts come in. I'm not really able to run games on my PC, so I am limited on what I can actually. For the longest time, or for a couple days, I wasn't even able to do webcam stuff even, but that kind of ironed itself out, so I'm able to do at least some like tabletop webcam stuff. So we'll see what I can do with that. Um, but yeah, I'm hoping to do let's plays again. So, either way, guys, I will see you guys in the next video. Have a good rest of your day. Stay safe. And catch you later, nerd.